I'll start. So I'm Bart, founder of Optioryx, mainly applying AI within the warehousing space.
Peter. My name is Peter Skov and I'm launching the InnoScale today.
Yeah, my name is Bart Gadeyne, business development manager of Rich League.
Good. Well, thank you for coming on. This is our first kind of live audience, which is a bit strange. If it goes wrong, apologies. Nesh, do shout at me because I'm not very good with holding this if I'm too close or far away. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Really good to have you all on. Those here that haven't kind of seen or heard the podcast, hopefully you will after this. We'll send it around. We put it out on LinkedIn, Spotify, YouTube. So when you're traveling around, which I know you all do quite a lot, feel free to not listen to me, listen to our wonderful guests, of course. I'm thinking in terms of the content, the structure, I can ask you guys some high-level questions. What's going well with companies coming into Europe? What are they struggling with? How we can fix it, etc., and what you guys are here to do. So first, high-level question for you all to discuss. What difficulties do companies face when coming into Europe?
The ones I see right now is like when they've been putting in here is basically keeping the cost and giving enough turnover to actually do it. So the first thing is actually not getting here, but starting here. So putting at the money is what the first question is. Also, we've been seeing people leaving Europe the last 2 years, that they're over here, but they don't create enough turnover, so they need to close down. Because the costs are just too high compared to the turnover they can realize here. Also because it's challenging being here with our European legislation on people. So that's the challenge they're having right now. They need to have firm structures, they need to have firm contracts, and this is what we see quite often. There's the reason why they don't dare to go to Europe, because Europe is. So actually moving over here is challenging. Staying here, well, the 3 companies just already left the next 2 years. They left Holland again or Europe again, because they just couldn't actually pay the rent and the salaries.
Mm-hmm. Anything to add, Bart?
Yeah, confirm. Indeed, we see quite often also with our clients, setting up the BV is not that complicated. Do the marketing and promotion, finding the good staff, employees, shortage and qualified labor, of course, not only in the Netherlands, but also in other countries. Difficulty getting a bank account open, so those little nitty-gritty things, but still, it makes peace a little bit more complicated. And then in the Netherlands, of course, we have the issues with the energy congestions, housing. So quite some challenges there, but still, as we see companies coming, trying to set up a base here to the world. Also, many of them still successful.
Yeah. Anything bad? But
yeah, from a software point of view, I think there's a very big difference between Europe and the US. And in Europe, everything goes in a very procedured way. Take it step by step. And then once you even done a nice pilot, you can prove the results. It's like, okay, now we got a list of steps you need to take. Cybersecurity, compliance, tack. We're not really getting excited about that, but that's what's happening in Europe. If you have conversations with companies in the US, you jump on a call, 1, max 2 conversation, and they say, okay, I believe in this, let's go for it. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're a scale-up. I think it's much easier in the US to find those first contracts,
Okay, how so?
How is that? Because, it's a bit difficult to say, but I think in the US you have more cowboys, and then they think like, okay, it's a startup, it's a bit of a risk, let's try it out. If it doesn't work, well, we stop the conversation there. If it works, we just continue. And that's a very big difference. So yeah, for us, I'm also doubting about, should we stay here? Should we go global? For now on, we're still here in Belgium. But we serve everybody globally. So in Australia, the US as well. But there might come a day that we will open an office there.
We see the same. And also, especially for American clients, the big investments, we're buying a piece of land, investment in port, a little bit waiting now, see what's happening with the governments, trade tariffs, etc. But the majority of our clients, sales marketing clients, just send over 1 or 2 people from the head office, hire here locally, and then stay both part. And then combined also with supply chain solutions, and also bringing the goods, if it's web solution, etc., and employ people here. So that there's a difference in what you see in the investment climate. So the big projects spending hundreds of millions of euros, the big plans, factories, etc. A little less busy as usual, but the companies see security, life science, robotics, AI, sales marketing, just keep coming. US, Japan, Australia, etc. It depends on a little bit how you look at which sector. What is the rationale? Entry.
So it's a combination of this thing of POCs is dead of innovation in Europe. Right now we're having this sending people over. You can't hire people running the 2 POCs. So if it's not happening, it's not going to happen. So how do you hire people? Or do you fire away the whole time? So Xavier, for instance, is even Boston now, but it used to be Nicolas just flying back and forward every single week from California. It's a bit tough. So how do you do that? And it's also why we can step in. So the discussion that Hugo and I had 2 weeks ago about, so how can I bring things in and so telling the rules and how can we flexibly help you with a thin scale of people just like entering. We can just help you with a thin scale. You don't need to hire people. You need to fly up. You don't need to fly over away. Just a hardware call for 1 hour, me and Hugo. We can tell you what the ability is you can put in a robot into Europe for a demo, but it's not an operational demo. So what's the difference? So those discussions, so this is what we can help with. It's also what they are really afraid of coming up to Europe because all the rules we have in Europe. So they're good for us, but it's challenging when you want to move into Europe, whether you come with China or US or Canada.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say the difference is between what you are doing and are setting up in comparison to me going to a Logimat, a ProMat, a Modex if I want to explore new technology?
So Logan is 3 days a year. We basically want to have the intention of having the coolest parties. So basically somewhere between 30 and 20 companies in the space. We want to go together with Logimat, but basically we want to have open the shop for 22 days a year. So basically we can give you your sales reps, give you only sales reps twice a month. You just hire them for those 2 days. If you did them once, it's fine. Need 5, it's fine. If you need more, you just start talking to you, get somebody, hire somebody. Basically, this structure we can do is just, you will be able to ramp up slowly. So basically, you'd start with having one of our engineers doing your free sales for you, you doing your demos for you. When they get more and more, you will have discussion with you to have an interim sales guy or really have a sales manager for Europe. But basically, we can do it step by step. That means you don't need to have that massive jump of getting into Europe with a 20 million CapEx. That's the difference. We want to do that small, but continuously. Also, we will go to Logimat. So actually, we will be on Logimat. We will be on our checks. We will be in SITL. We will not go to the international fairs. We will just do the one in Europe.
Yeah. Awesome.
We went to ProMat. I was not personally, but one of my colleagues was quite interesting because we were large US logistics, manufacturing. So there's still a market out there. And we focus more on the non-EU hires. So we try to work with German missions, BO.
You talk louder?
Sorry?
Okay.
Maybe we need a mic or something? Oh, no. All right. So, that's first interesting to attend. But we did a bit odd at those events because we're just service provider for legal tax payroll services.
Yeah.
We can also find our businesses.
In terms of products, maybe a question for yourself that I've seen, and you mentioned before, Peter, as well, similar to my first question, a lot of organizations, especially coming from the US, if I'm thinking about specifically the AI, the item pick world, they've got a really good product. They've tried to come into Europe, maybe not necessarily been as successful as they would have liked, not necessarily focusing on item picking or AI in general, but a lot of really cool products that is coming from outside of Europe that have tried to come here and have failed. I don't know if you know the answer why that is, but in your opinion, why do you think these guys have been maybe unsuccessful?
It's a bit of a subjective answer. Technology must be better. But more importantly, you got the entire compliance thing, which is super important. Industry, I think the logistics industry is a bit atypical. In other industries, you can, with good marketing and good sales, as a software company, I think it's easier to get in. I think the logistics industry, you need to know the people who work there, who have a network. And that's a big difference. So you need to have the people. And of course, for us, for example, it's not only software, it's also sitting together with the client, listening to them. So I think that the contact there is also super important to onboard customers in a decent way. That's something that's super difficult to do from a remote perspective.
Mm-hmm. Is it difficult in terms of, and what I'm hearing on the market as well, is when you're integrating different technologies with even different countries within Europe, but outside the US as well? I.e., if client one is a particular WMS system, you're trying to integrate your solutions into there through a WES or however it is. But from a software point of view, from your perspective, is that difficult working with a company outside of Europe?
It really depends. Last week we had a company from Australia just knocking on the door, a website door. And they said, yeah, we're looking into 3D cartonization. We've seen a US competitor. I say, yeah, how can I convince you to choose for our solution? And they list a couple of features. Say, okay, these ones we have, this one's not. Oh, so you have this one and this one. Okay, cool. And then they say, yeah, from a website perspective, you don't look that good. Your product doesn't look that good, but when testing it out, it's super good. And that was he was really looking for something. We had it. And yeah, everything is scalable. It's in the AWS cloud, so everything scales together with the volumes. So he just tested it out, was happy, and then we can onboard them. Of course, if it's a bit more complex, like the warehouse digital twin stuff, I think it's super important that you're there on site working together with the clients, because otherwise things get lost in translation.
Mm-hmm. So it's one thing having a cool website and displaying your products there, but in terms of what your customers want to see and what you can do is having that physical demonstration of, hey, this is what we can do. Back in Rio.
It's not only physical demonstration, it's also walking through the warehouse, seeing how things go, because everybody talks about a warehouse, it's the same, but it's never the same. All the processes might be from a high level perspective the same, but in the end, all these little things add up, different order profiles, crushability, sometimes not. So, and then you need to sit together with the customer, look at all these operations and say, look, I think this is the best to do in your situation.
Awesome. Peter, a question for you. I've just come here. I've been born yesterday. I don't know anything. What is InnoScale?
So InnoScale is an ecosystem basically that will be able to support innovation companies coming in with the warehouse technology to Europe. But also, I really wanted to be, let's say, the birthplace for real automation across Europe. And we were basically want to be supporting that for both being from the side of the users, so shippers, 3PLs, but also innovation partners to really work together, because just fighting each other is not going to help us. We cannot, all the problems that companies have in Europe, we need to figure out how to do it. We need to do it the new way, because the old way doesn't work, because we don't make the POC, they don't work. So we need to figure a new way of doing it, and basically doing it together. Holland talking about Delta work, nobody else knows it, but they need to make a big plan to create this unity to be able to do it. And if you keep on talking the same way, you have own innovations house like DHL. Well, I couldn't come as a SIVA. And also you want to have a Muchin, that's fine, but nobody can come into Muchin unless they're Muchin. So all these very separate things doesn't work. It's smarter having an open structure where you will be able to work together and use things scales, because one of the answers to your first question is, why are they not working? I think because they underestimated the complexity of Europe. And they start putting money in to fix all those uncertainties. But putting people in for everything, you're still growing, is going to be too expensive. And also here, the square meters are not that cheap. So actually going somewhere else. So one of the calculations I did, when somebody has a warehouse, they created a demo center. It cost them 2 million doing it. They can move into us. It's going to cost them 60,000 a year. And they're going to get 10 times more visitors than they had themselves. So that's the base structure of what we want to do it. Because bringing them in, all these key companies, it'll also be interesting, like TXO, Kuninal, SIVA, Bol.com, Nike to come and talk with us and really learn how to do innovation to do the right choice.
Hey, Peter, can you do it the other way around as well? Like bring us to US? Or?
Is there a US InnoScale coming actually? Question. Oh, we got to do the Netherlands first.
So first, right now, we give a go-to-market report for bringing American companies or Asian companies into Europe. So we start with one million innovation center is up and running. Yes, the discussion is already ongoing with a very wealthy American to actually get it in Atlanta. But I said, I'm not going to do anything until we get enough money. We really start working here in Europe. And then the idea would be indeed to have a site like everybody else move to US. They don't go to San Francisco or Boston. They go to Atlanta, where Modis is as well. So basically that would be the same idea, sitting close to Mucho. You know?
I will be your first customer. Yeah.
And now also here, so yeah, it's not going to be an only international thing. We want to bring also the Danish, the Germans, everybody else in having a cool center and try to make it also that we can see how things work together. How you can work with Miley and Boston in one solution. How can you create that? That might be really fun. We put those things together.
Great. Bart, question for you. You mentioned in your pitch in terms of what you're doing, working on a day-to-day basis, having a local yet global approach, which is important for a lot of organizations that are out there in the market. I think from your point of view, in terms of non-negotiables of what you see from an EU company on their go-to-market strategy, whether that's certification, having the right sales team, the right design team, whatever that looks like, in your experience, what would you say the non-negotiables look like setting up in Europe?
Well, basically, that's, of course, we're Rotterdam, and now the great hub here in the western part of Europe, the gateway, where many countries see the hinterland, of course. Also with the partner agencies from the Dutch government. So what we do, we really try to promote the Netherlands as the gateway hub for Europe. Many of our clients that come to Europe use the Netherlands as the headquarter, and from here they roll out to Germany, UK, Scandinavia, France. The supply chain solutions that the Netherlands can offer, the tax treaties, going too much in detail, but in general, we have a very good proposition. That's why we see still companies, headquarters, Japan, US, we seem to decide to settle here. We need IT solutions, the tech solutions, immigration solutions, AI, robotic solutions, etc. Yeah, I think the Netherlands is still one of the best places. We have some challenges, which we offered earlier. But yeah, I'm still quite positive for the Netherlands. It's the case. Non-negotiable. I always try to tell my clients, if you put all those things in the basket, XPT, we have human capital, ease of doing business. We do score maybe on each factor number 1 in Europe. But shake it in the basket, shake it in the Netherlands, top is number 1. And most companies, they hear about it, they see what's all possible, they go for it. That's also why we took an InnoScale as a supporting partner. We want to team up and try to convince those international players, set up base here. From here, you can develop, innovate, grow your business.
Peter, anything to add?
No, so yeah, same reason why I started here, because I was hired by end of 92 by Nissan. They also came here for the same reason. And one of my Japanese bosses said the right way, it's the only place in Europe where everybody told me English we understand, because we don't understand in London. But it's also the only place where we find every Japanese major airport they can fly to Schiphol. That's a major thing. We also know all the goods they come into Rotterdam and Antwerp. And also for here, in Rotterdam, we are 8 hours truck drive for 80% of the EMEA warehouses. So we are in the center of the logistics. So you either need to be here or northern Belgium with Bart, or you need to be just across the border in Germany. This is the hotland for logistics. Well, it's the smartest just being here for us. It's the same reason why I'm here, because I'm not Dutch, I'm Danish. But this is the reason for being here. The other kind of the non-negotiable is in the ecosystem, you need to be able to work with others. So DSO, structure will not work. Because they want to close down, and an innovation partner that you want to do everything on their own doesn't work. You need to be able to do it. I'll discuss with Bart, but for me, always stood out at the RFQ, one is none. So I need to be able to talk, could have other people. So basically, Innovation Center, ideally, I want to have 2 AI companies. I want to have 2 MR companies. I want to have 2 LQ companies. I want to have 2 Q companies, because basically, you need to be triggered to have that discussion. Otherwise, the PD is just selling only Bart. He's only selling out the store. But I don't want to be. I want to be the one who really are able to really have a real objective discussion like I used to have. Just having one AI company, one AMR, one throat, it doesn't work because it's just a sales channel. But I really want to create that structure that will be able to really help of them and the people buying it. So basically, for them both will be easy to do automation in Europe.
So being as agnostic, truly agnostic, because there's a lot of organizations out there, I won't name names, that say, yeah, we're agnostic, we'll do anything, but maybe use these ones.
Yeah,
right?
because a lot of those system integrators, they call themselves agnostic. They still choose not to sell on robots.ai, which is actually a thing, because they don't earn enough from it. Because they earn more from selling a T2V solution. So, and of course, like limited people, that means there's limited times. So people will always have to choose what they do. So only if you open the book, have a real discussion, and the ecosystem, for me, is the only way to really start augmenting automation in Europe.
Anything to add to that?
No.
Oh, cool. I think as well, just for the audience as well, we will have a Q&A in 10 minutes where I'll run around and pass the mic around. So any questions for Bart, or Peter, do think about them. You've got 10 minutes to come up with some questions as well, which we'll add in the end. I think next question from my side, more of like a technical support / engineering question. I think, again, part of the organizations coming into Europe is having a real infrastructure, obviously from a design, from a certification point we've mentioned, but from a hands-on engineering perspective, right? So X automation has been installed, whether hardware or software, into a warehouse in Germany, for example, but the headquarters is in China. The customer has a problem with said automation, hardware or software. And I think a real difficulty for these companies are, do we have a field service, physical presence team located in country, or do we do it remotely? Discuss pros, cons. Is that good, bad? What's the preference? What would you do?
One of my bosses had a discussion, actually said after sales comes before sales.
Okay.
So in Europe, if you don't have after sales, you can't show it, people are not going to buy it. So we are more reluctant. So we need to have that after sales feeling before we buy things. So yes, it's very important, because otherwise you can't sell. So yeah, you can get a certification, but if you don't have any structure at all to be able to implement and you support it afterwards, people are not going to buy anything from you. So you're talking about an X, there's not an X here, there, but a good sales team, but that's it. They have stopping actually selling things, because people want to know, well, who's going to maintain it in 12 months' time from now? So yes, it's really very important when you want to sell that you have that after sales thing on the ground. And you can hire 20 people, because that's kind of what you need to have people being allowed to do things in Europe, but that's going to be too expensive. You can't pay for it. So you need to find a partner to be able to do it. And you can go to SPIE and Eftemium. They want to say, well, we only do if you get a 10 million deal. Well, small companies that want to go to Europe can't pay for SPIE. They cannot say, well, we're going to do 10 million for you. But those are the biggest companies in this area in Europe. But they're only stepping in if they've got a real turnover. So you need to find an alternative partner like Prolog that actually will be able to step in for small companies to be able to support it. Because they also do that many things. They know these discussions. They're already supporting a lot of Chinese and Indian companies. So they know the discussion how to do it. And they told those languages, because they are in France and Germany and Holland and Czech Republic.
But when you mentioned, obviously, your company and yourself specifically, you're looking to grow globally on a different subject. How do you find that balance between having in-country support versus doing it remotely from a cost perspective?
Of course, it's always better to sit together with a customer and do it on site. That being said, we have discussions with companies globally. And the question that pops up is support and during business hours most of the time. So we're thinking about different options to cope with that. It's not there yet, but we got some ideas to do that in a time zone that is available for the US and for Australia as well. Of course, the difficult thing is they need to understand our products, need to be able to troubleshoot it, and then we need to give them some kind of a documentation and test them regularly as well.
That's anything for you to add?
Yeah, we're just starting up in the UK, especially since Brexit. With the different level of logistics. We're quite busy with the UK because many UK companies lost their rating. The presence on the mainland and what's the most natural partner. We see not only with UK companies coming to the mainland, also our Japanese and American clients instead of first in Amsterdam, so partly relocate our home to London or product. We also expanding and also has challenges. With all supply chain issues, etc. Yeah, we also face it. And, it's interesting, challenging, and we probably see colleagues to help all this analysis.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Next 5 to 10 years in terms of automation in the space, what would you like to see? What do you want to see? What are we hoping to see? Let's give you. We'll go Bart and Peter.
Difficult question. I think right now we got two main tracks. You got the software AI component. I got the automation coming up, and then right now it's really difficult for everybody to understand. Like, what do we need right now? Some things work for a specific company, not for the other one. Automation is more expensive. I think costs will go down, so that would be a good one, of course. Also, more taking away all this upfront costs of automation, but more the leasing way of thinking. I think more and more companies are coming up with that. That's an important one. That's my take.
One of the discussions I had with Bart earlier this year is for a lights out warehouse in Belgium. It's going to be made in 2027. There's a new law coming up. Nobody probably knows about it. It's new packaging law. You need to be able to prove that your box has no more than 50% space left in it. How do you prove that when you build.com? Mm-hmm. You need to prove, but also you need to start building solution for doing that. Mm-hmm. And trying to put that into discussion of a lights out warehouse. How do you do that? How do you create a box with, say, a pack size solution? Because they can create 1 million different sizes of boxes. Mm. How do you then figure out how to place those 3 products in that box? The way that, say, his AI said to create it. He tells pack size, I wanted this box. No, he did that based on a 3D thing. It's easy for us as people to do a 3D placing. You try to find somebody who could do it just like him, show the Tetris. But you need to tell it to a robot now. We are easy, we could just do like this, right? Try and tell it to a robot actually do it. Mm-hmm. So I will see the first actual robot can do it. I'll see that on Friday.
We already had discussion during the coffee break. For me, it would be super nice, like having the 3D stacking done by a robot. And right now, we see these robot arms doing things, but mostly it's always the same SKU on the pallet. But mixed palletization with a robot arm or 3D stacking together with that robotics, I think that would be awesome.
I know Marcel and Mark on the back, they know a lot about pallets, but actually the pallets are easy because pallets don't have walls and there's always an euro. The box has walls or walls. So it's much more technical difficult in that little space to be able to turn around. So it's not that means OGQ pallets are easy, but this is just the next level after. It's the most complex thing you do in lights out warehouse. Mm-hmm. How you do it 100% by our people.
And taking into account crushability, stackability.
Yeah,
make this side up information.
I think it's one of the funniest things I've done this year is be able to do that. Not that InnoScale is not funny, but getting something like really nobody's ever done it before. Peter, can I help you? Yeah, that's funny. So I think we will go towards lights out warehouse more.
Yeah,
I've seen a warehouse now in Denmark. They've only 3 people working in that warehouse.
Okay. Interesting.
They do about 20,000 pallets a day. We feel, and it's not a small company.
Interesting. Okay. Is on the back of that, is there a limitation in terms of the next 5 to 10 years between hardware and software? Because I think from my perspective, what I'm seeing in the market, the hardware and the physical automation is pretty good. I think there's always some developments to be done, but the real gap in the market is utilizing AI, machine vision, machine learning, from a data analysis point of view, from a customer retention point of view, and then obviously from a performance of the automation.
Yeah, I think automation needs to open up for AI and software. That's my point of view. Like we're testing out something on auto stores to decrease the number of presentations by 30 to 40%. Something else that you've done. But an interesting thing. Same with the robot arm we were talking about. So I think it would be nice if those automation companies would open up and work together with those software components.
So I was in Boston with the Amazon team that created a new Vulcan robots. Mm-hmm. So it's a Danish friend of mine who gave his IP to doing it. So those things are really interesting to be able to actually see and feel with a robot. But actually very important, the reason why they bought his IP and bought the right to the IP of Covariant is they bought those AI VLMs. This is basically what they bought. And they know from Amazon, because they've got the most robot company in the world, they know that VLM is the most important thing to get under control. So actually that VLM, video language model, so we in ChatGPT we use large language model. VLM is actually where you need to be for a humanoid or robot arm to be able to do it. And this is what they are betting all the money on right now, Amazon, because everything else, the technical thing, they got under control. So they are right now putting a massive amount of AI into their robots. For them, this is the next step they need to do. You go to the next phase. So yes, those things will come together. And especially in the humanoids will not work until they get AI, really good AI. So the form factor, fun, but they can't do much because everything has to be learned.
I got another question for you, Peter.
Yeah.
Are you scared about the humanoids robots? Because it starts at warehousing?
No, I was writing an article the other week together with Luxi Donnell, but the humanoids can't do everything because they can't do everything. So it's only going to be a combination of. So you're always going to use other things as well. So you want to use what's called the mega things, so basically big things with two arms, like a lap zero or dexterity. You want to use them. Sometimes you want to have pellets. So a humanoid can only do what we do right now firstly, but we do not firstly run a highway. We don't do a forklift. So they can't do everything. So it's fun facts, but right now you also see predominantly going into factories. That's why you and I is right to put all the money putting into the factory, not into the warehouse. So Finder doesn't really care much about stress. They're putting all the money on the Atlas thing for Boston Dynamics to get it into one of the factories as soon as possible. Okay. So yes, it will take it, but also we don't get people to do it. Putting in those places where they want to start using the robot is the most dull place you want to do. So coming back, so we always thought we can save a lot of people with robots or AI. I don't think we can. We can make it more efficient and also make it more fun to work in a warehouse. It's also important because otherwise we can't buy any goods if no one want to work in a warehouse. So I'm not afraid of them. They need to be there, but they can't fix the whole world.
I'm going to open up. I know a few people here, so don't make me pick on you. In terms of Q&A for Bart's, Peter and Bart's, I will run around with the mic so we can capture it for the podcast. But I'm going to open it out for the next sort of 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Any questions that you have for anything supply chain, legal, automation, humanoids, anything, any questions? So let's talk. Can I give you the client run to and give you the mic, bro? Thank you.
Maybe a general question. So I've seen a lot of new technologies coming up. So what do you think is now the next step? What is the one that really will make major changes in warehouse practice? So as, for example, one of the new things we saw is AutoStore. It's incredible. So many installations in such a short time. What is the next thing? Might be software related, might be like VLM, might be hardware related. What do you see?
I think there's so many things coming out right now, but I see the most movement right now is free space storage. So basically be able to do multiple things because one of my customers, they can only put 80% of their products into a tote. So Ectotech, High, Geek, AutoStore, they can only have that one tote. That's all they have. So anything that's bigger than that, but not a pallet, that's what they're missing because there's no pallet cubes and high base, as you talked about. There's these totes, but there's so many things in between. Mm-hmm. So right now, there are companies like looking right now to make that in between. Because basically, just like my customer, 82% of the products doesn't fit anywhere. Making that automation, being able to make that solution will be really cool. So right now, I'm working with an American company where you want to put that ASRS or sequencer, what do you want to put? You want to put the small version into a truck. So be able to do all kinds of sizes, boxes, parcel, flour, pellets. But put that into a truck, or we can do both the ASRS and the sequencer in the truck. We'll use the same technology in the warehouse. And those two technology in the warehouse and the truck, they will work seamlessly with each other.
So it's a great thing, I think. So to use space better in the warehouse, because space is costly.
Yeah.
And there will be a more flexible solution to do that. Indeed.
So you got the small structure, you got the pallet structure, but
There's nothing in between.
70% of the warehouse is in tree. Absolutely. So this is where there's no good solution right now.
I'm doing that automatically.
Yeah. This is also where we spend the most time.
That would be a great success, I'm sure. I made the wrong bet of buying shares of AutoStore at some point. I wouldn't recommend it to any. And yeah, you see them popping up every now and then. But the thing is, there's also a couple of disadvantages, like you cannot really speed up productivity during peak season, for example, in fashion. Then you're stuck with the productivity you have. You need to add more people. And the thing is, not everything fits in an AutoStore. So if you can already take that one out and then use clever algorithms on top to better slotting in AutoStores and also order clustering. If you do not single order picking, but multi-order picking, then you can drastically improve the productivity part as well.
Yeah, there are also small things you can do. So putting in, actually what you talk about the computer vision. Computer vision actually can do a lot. So one of the discussions we have right now with this big Swedish customer, putting in cameras can actually improve 18% of the pick efficiency of all the pickers. When they've got 200 pickers on AutoStore, that's a lot of links. When you have a new port, but also you have the old ports, you need to figure out how can you actually use the old ports. That's why we have been discussing with the old version that they have put in no magic, because actually they will be able to pick. So the old port, no, actually about AutoStore, the old port takes about 50 seconds to change the port to the trolley. You only can have one box at the same time. So basically, if you have 4 products to be picked for one customer, you'll be waiting 1 minute just get the tote back and forward. And you will be picking for 20 seconds. So it takes you a minute, 20 seconds for 4 products. If we put something like no magic, we put it on top, actually that no magic will be able to put things, all the 4 products into one box. It will be one box coming down. It will take you 20 seconds to pick. So that's kind of the solution. So because then you actually save 60% of picking time. You put that in. Step was free, but those are discussions we're having back and forward, how you actually can think outside of the box, literally, without the store.
Yeah, so we started 5 years ago. We already discussed picking each AutoStore from the grid.
Yep.
5 years ago, but the project was spot. We had all the engineering, a lot of engineering was already been done with my previous cookie. And it was stopped for political reasons. Why? Because they would sell less of those exit studs. So it would benefit the client, but it would not benefit AutoStore.
That was stop.
So that's why we didn't have that discussion on AutoStore.
Yeah, maybe some from my side, a little bit awkward. They can see a lot of the clients when they order for content technology. I'm sure how that can be resonating in supply chain solution with it's quite a hot topic. Only a lot of initiatives, especially in universities, startups, have some great idea. US, UK, or Australia, also Singapore. Okay, we want access to EU funding. So we shop in the Netherlands. But I'm not sure how that is integrated in supply chain solutions, robotics, etc. But we see a lot of anything related around quantum.
Yeah. I think from my side as well, we've got Boston Dynamics here as well somewhere. We'll see the end of line, however you frame it, automation in terms of truck loading and unloading. That's very attractive in my opinion. I think at the moment, other companies are available, not just Boston Dynamics, of course. But I think especially when in any environment, that's where automation is so powerful in extreme temperatures, so high or cold, also very hot or very cold. If we can really maximize automation to work in extreme temperatures, so minus 25, plus 75 if you're out in the US or in a very extreme climate, I think you don't really want operators in general going into already a very hot environment in a container from a lorry, picking up boxes and putting them onto a conveyor. So I think from my side, the automated truck unloading solution, that doesn't seem to be mass deployed yet.
Right now, there's only one customer actually. Boston Dynamics is the only one really doing loose loading into Europe. Mm-hmm. But of course, the selling companies right now waiting to get into Europe. Mm-hmm. So
first company doing that is already 20 years old. Mm-hmm. I got even an award for that, a logistic award. I'm not giving it to them myself. Mm-hmm. I never heard of that. it's a difficult problem, you know. It's really it's also to make it. It's not only to physically do it, but also at low cost, you know.
Yeah. But also consistently. So that's the thing, of course, what we're asking about. So most people, like I was, we want to make that. We don't want to buy a thing that will work the first hour. We want it to work the first 3 or 5 years. This is what we want to be certain about. It will keep on working at that reason why we bought it. This is what we want to convince about. So only with scale can you actually start showing it. So that's challenging. There are more people out there. But it is proven. It's not for no reason that Boston Bolt just sold 1,000 to DHL. It's not a small number.
Awesome. Any other questions at all?
Thanks. It's David Priestman, Logistics Business. Peter, you're critiquing AutoStore. Have you seen the Ocado system, the ASRS system, which they're now selling to non-grocery retail competitors?
I was the first chief commercial officer of Avocados.
Okay.
So yeah, we know about it. But we also see that they are not successful, and there's no reason that Kroger last week stopped working with Ocado.
No. They're reviewing.
Oh, yeah.
They're reviewing.
Okay.
It's going to take some...
Keep this PG and not release anything confidential, because these might be my clients as well and I don't want to get in trouble. So yeah.
For my story, Ocado is a UK company with some success in the US, but nowhere else.
No, I sold it in Japan. I sold it I sold it in Sweden.
This is personal. This is personal. I would skip this question.
They are now selling a non-grocery solution. They're selling it in Canada to the pharmaceutical industry. We can discuss.
But it's not the big one of the big ones. I see Exotech as the real challenger for them, together with the new Knap and the new High solution. And those are the real competitors right now that they need to look at, because they're the 4 biggest, most known with power, gave the sales solution. So the thing is also open, but also AutoStore, everybody looks at AutoStore, but it's actually an AutoStore. It's like, say, a freeway in Germany, but they've got 100 freeways. There's also 100 consulting companies, and AutoStore actually implement nothing. You always have to go to a system integrator to actually do the job. So you need to understand which solution works for you, which system integrator works for you. And it's not for nothing that the biggest in the world, they just stopped the control element who built it for them. And they basically took over everything themselves. So they took over and built their own warehouse control system. They sell thing for 1.2 million boxes. Yeah. But this is what they did without a boost. They just went in and took over themselves, and they said, Element, we don't need you anymore. They're running into all the things they're running right now with Tobias. Basically, he runs the whole thing himself. So this is what I see right now, and I think also the discussion we had with the Extra store earlier, some for no reason we did choose for Extra instead of AutoStore. But it does also depend on the mix. Susan, the selling guys here, they will be able to tell you more. But yeah, it's not a close discussion, so I'm not married with any of them. Coming back again, I really want to have multiple things, because everywhere I came from, I chose the right solution with the solution designers. And also now I'll be able to get the recent discussion from InnoScale. But having a discussion and be open, say agnostic social system integrator, it's kind of we want to be. We want to call it an ecosystem instead of. So yes, AutoStore is good, 25 years old, but it's not the only one. It's not the king of the road anymore.
Any other questions?
I'll run to you, don't worry.
Question about your opinion about the automotive market, which is of course also affected with supply chain for logistics, as is a decline in Europe. So we'd like to see your opinion on what the effects will be on supply chain for logistics, especially in countries like Germany, France, etc., where there's actually automated manufacturing happening.
I want to twist that one, because the robot company is just the same right now. Because like 90% of the robot arm companies are now Japanese or Chinese. This is also what we see in cars. So there used to be robot manufacturers in Europe, called ABB, but they were just sold for 5.4 billion to Japan yesterday. Yeah. So this is what is happening right now. All the 5 major robot companies are now Japanese, not Chinese, but Japanese. This is what's going to happen over here. And we need to figure out for Europe how we play the game. Saying no doesn't work for us. We need to figure out how we actually step into it and use it. So from a manufacturing point of view, I'm not really in there, but I'm in there for supply chain. We need to be able to talk to these people, work with them. For also no reason, I started my career in Nissan, so I'm used to having Japanese or Chinese coming in here. So it's not for me a bad thing, but we need to just live with it. And I just ordered a new BMW iX3. So I think they're doing right now. So we just need to do smart things like the Neue Plaza and BMW. Just going saying, I don't like them doesn't work. You really need to have an objective new process to figure out how to deal with it. And of course, there will be some change, but maybe they've started earlier. That's kind of my opinion right now. Challenging, but we have to live with it. We just need to start reorganizing before it's too late. So before they get Kodaks.
Of mainly also about the technical innovation built in the euro. That I can mention Polo, the NBB, are not done. And so I can imagine that in the end, some of these companies will not survive due to the fact that their main customers are automotive and logistics customers.
I agree. Like a boss said, if they've got problems.
And their logistics are, but they were one of the first pioneers due to the Numenos program.
Yep. I agree with a comment like you said there, it makes gearbox. You don't need a gearbox in the electric car. So what do you do with ZF? But they should have thought of that before. So right now it's coming back to the Kodaks. It's not the reason it's a verb saying being Kodak. People need to start thinking what's coming ahead. You need to start thinking early. And for me, I started thinking early we need to put in logistical innovations here in Europe. So we started to do it now. We need to do the right way with power behind it. So this is what we need to do to be able to manage it. Because saying no, we don't like them, well, doesn't work. I don't believe in Marca with the gun against your head being forced to put a facility in the US. I don't believe it. We need to figure out a smarter way to work together.
I think sorry, John, question.
Yeah, I think in Europe we can open up much more. Oh, exactly. We should open up much more. Just an example, last week, Monday, I was with Amazon. And they really opened up what the challenges they have. I wouldn't say problems, but the challenges, opportunities they have. They open up. And so we as industry can help them. We can find solutions for it. But it's kind of rare that in Europe, companies are not opening up. What are the challenges of the companies out there in Europe? So they don't tell. It's closed. Sometimes they tell a supplier. So I think that solutions in Europe is to be much more open on the future challenges they have, and to have the industry, the academics, etc., to think about potential solutions. And I think we are too closed internally. We keep our problem for ourselves. But if we share them, we enable the industry, the academics to solve them.
Coming back, probably going to be the biggest challenge for InnoScale in Europe. Being people allowed, being willing to be open. So it's also like you want to be mooching your own stock, nobody else come in there, well, they don't fit. But that's going to be the challenge, of course, trying to make the structure, really start putting the power in, and having people like you around the table today, it's going to help that people start being open for having the discussion and saying, well, we need to do things differently because we haven't been successful with automotive. We need to figure out how do we do it, because we need at least to be successful in putting warehouse technology into our warehouse operations. For me, I'm not the whole area. Just stick to the warehouse. So, that's going to be one of the challenges going forward. For Europe, but also InnoScale. So I'm in the same boat as everybody else in Europe.
We have the market, we have the technology, we have people. It's people with smooth process.
The extension that we were opening up from a startup perspective, and I think it was mentioned earlier how North America, US based, they're more willing to invest in sustainable technologies. They're more willing to do proof of concepts. From a startup perspective of Europe, I see a lot more eagerness on the American side to test out influence, not North America based. I think to extend what was said before on the European side taking risks in trying out core concepts. It can't be tested fully about the use cases at scale. It still needs to be a competitive edge of we want to test. I think InnoScale is good platform that this is going to be exposure to more technologies that is available.
So, Sing, may I ask you a question? How do you see it from a Chinese working with Rotterdam partners? How do you see this discussion there? Yeah, for you, Sing.
Yeah, I think first of all, we are also partners. So what we are is an investment EPC at students, right? And in Chipo, adding the value adding for companies into the local ecosystem. And for this topic, I think Chinese working for, let's say, Western government, I think it's I'm standing a very interesting point which I can able to understand and detect using the homeland knowledge and able to contribute this in the local ecosystem because they don't think there's a really a competition between the Chinese solution provider and the European market. For them is they see Europe as a market, but the only thing is just like here we just mentioned, sometimes they are not fully understand the openness of the market of Europe. That's why we are here to acting as a bridge to share what's really happening over here and to see what their technology can enable and give our vision. So we are doing a bridge function or not obviously copying big uses, but we like to stay updated for what's going on.
It's also like what I do. So as I said, for nothing, I showed a bridge between Asia and Europe into Europe, Asia and Americas into Europe. But also for me, operation into robotics. It's a combination of those things that we want to start doing. So yeah. And so we need to do more effective to be effective in Europe because otherwise, well, we have a big problem in the next 10 to 20 years. Actually, coming back to one of your earlier questions, what's going to happen in 10 years' time, not in 5 years' time? You haven't heard about it yet, but a lot of discussion at MIT about liquid AI. Well, when you heard about that? So right now, we have edge cameras. It means a lot of smartness is in the camera. But right now, when ChatGPT, we need to ask a huge data center, costs a lot of energy. MIT, they now have effective working solutions, AI, about the size of this thing. So this little thing here can do the same calculation. This little server here is driving a car now autonomously in US. This big. Right now, for doing that, actually, the whole thing, you need to have the whole data center to then Tesla do it. So this little thing can be put on the edge, is what they're building right now at MIT. That's going to be the future. It's really putting the huge data centers into micro things. So basically, at the end, it will be put just in your camera. The whole AI will be in your camera. The learning of everything, the whole VLM forever will be in there, in the camera. So the thing we'll be talking about quantum, this is going to be true. Because you're actually going to put a quantum into a camera in 10 years' time.
Why do they call it liquid?
Because the neural system that it works with, we have the way our body works is with liquids. So they looked also at the smartest way of communicating in the world. That's worms. So the worm, they don't have any structure and we have, but they work with liquids. So the liquid in a worm tells how to do it. And basically what they have tried to re-establish in the structure of how a worm works, they put that into a system and they put into a car. And it's the most effective autonomous driving solution anywhere in the world. And it's this size. So this is what the Daniel Ross is right now is building in MIT. So that's going to be one of the real showstoppers in 10 years' time. So,
Free time for one more question before we wrap up. If anyone has a final question or comment. If not, we will conclude. No.
Bart Gadeyne.
Right on cues. I think that concludes it. So thank you everyone for listening, watching. Of course, thank you for everyone for being here in person. And we'll have some drinks and we'll network afterwards. So thanks a lot.
No worries.
Oh, cheers.